Bob, can you give us a tour of your house? Oh, ready? Oh.
I could.
Okay, at this time, we'll call to order the City of Kenai Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for July 22nd, 2020. Will you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item A2, roll call.
Chairman Twait,
Here.
Vice Chairman Fikes is absent. Commissioner Springer,
Here.
Commissioner McIntyre,
Here.
Commissioner Greenberg is absent. Commissioner Halstead is absent. And Commissioner Askin? Here. Chairman, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Item A3, agenda approval. Commissioner Askin.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Springer seconds. Any objection?
Good. That was
Seeing-
Commissioner McIntyre.
Yes, sir. Oh, wrong one. Sorry about that. Any objections to the approval of the agenda? Seeing none, it is approved. Item A4, consent agenda. Wishes of the commission. Commissioner Askin.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do we have a second?
I would second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Springer. Any objection? Seeing none, the consent agenda is approved. Takes us down to item C, scheduled public comment. We have none. Item D, unscheduled public comment. Anyone either here or online that would like to speak?
There's no one online from the public.
All right, no one online. We will move on then to item E. E1 is consideration of plats. Resolution PZ 2020-19, a preliminary subdivision plat of Obert's Pillars Subdivision, Donahue replat, submitted by McLean Consulting, P.O. Box 468, Soldotna, on behalf of Thomas Donahue, 3305 Togiak, Unit A. Staff report.
Thank you, Chair Twait. So this plat was submitted by McLean Consulting on behalf of Thomas Donahue, the property owner, and it just removes a property line between two lots that Mr. Donahue owns. So they're currently vacant lots. The property owner has obtained a building permit to construct a single-family residence. The property owner was looking to put an attached garage on the adjacent lot. City code does not allow that. We don't allow a non-primary structure, or I should say an accessory structure without a primary structure. And so this removal of the lot line, it would get the entire single-family house with the attached garage on one parcel. There's no agreement with the city for water and sewer that is necessary. This parcel is not connected to water and sewer, so the property owner plans to install a well and septic system. That would have to be approved with the Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation. The plat note does say that there are plans for wastewater disposal that meet regulatory requirements on file currently. The plat meets other requirements of Kenai Municipal Code for subdivision design standards, minimum improvements required, and Chapter 1410 subdivision regulations. There's no other changes to right-of-ways or road access. These parcels are accessed by existing paved roads that are maintained by the city. There is a note, we're asking that the surveyor insert a label for the 10-foot utility easement, just so that it adds some clarity, so that, where is it? Yeah, it's, you can see it running along Chinook and Silver Salmon Drive. We just wanted a label that it would match the parent plat if there's a label, just so it's clear that it's 10 feet all the way around for the utility easement. So I recommend that the commission approve the plat of the Obert's Pillars subdivision Donahue replat, subject to the following conditions, which is that further development conforms to federal, state, and local regulations, and two, that the additional label for the 10-foot utility easement is added to the plat, just for clarity. Thank you.
All right, thank you. This time we'll look for a motion. Commissioner Askin.
I move that we approve Resolution PZ 2020-19 with staff recommendations.
Do we have a second?
I'll
I would
second.
second.
Commissioner McIntyre seconds. All right, we'll open it up for discussion. Anybody have any discussion items?
I have one, or a few anyway.
All right, go ahead.
First of all, I want to declare that, and see if you need to make any kind of a ruling on this. I do live in this subdivision. I'm at the far end, about as far away as you can get from this land, but in this property. But there is Chinook Drive is the only drive or road into the subdivision, and so I have to pass by this property, as does everybody else in the subdivision who wants to come in or leave. And I will be supporting this, but I wanted to let people know that I don't have a conflict here. I don't know the people. The only thing that came up since, in respect to the Open Meetings Act, I guess, was at one point several months ago, a email was circulated to everybody in the subdivision. It's a small subdivision, but we have a architectural review committee, and so Mr. Donahue submitted his plans for review by the ARC, and somehow that got sent out by email to everybody in the subdivision. So I saw what his plans were and what his house was. It was at that time, the only conversation I had was I called the chairman of the ARC and said it looked like where he was positioning his house was going to be across the property line, and that even though he owned both lots and they were both vacant, he couldn't do that unless he got rid of that property line, and that somebody might want to make him aware of that fact before he built the house. And that's the last conversation we had. I haven't had any since then. So I don't see a conflict here, but I'm throwing that out there for others to weigh in.
All right, thank you. It doesn't sound like you could benefit financially by any stretch of the imagination, and since there's no way around driving past it, I don't see a conflict. So any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, please call the roll.
Commissioner McIntyre?
Yes.
Commissioner Springer?
Yes.
Commissioner Askin?
Yes.
Chairman Tweet?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Items F, public hearing, G, unfinished business, H, new business, I, pending reports. We have none. Takes us to item J, or J, reports. And with that, we will go to J1, City Council. Councilman Naxted.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Twait. Council had a meeting on July 15th that's in your packet, and I'll go over a few of those items. We did amend the official zoning map by rezoning tracks 1 and 2 Holland Spur Highway subdivision from rural residential to general commercial. That was something that you, this body recommended, and it passed unanimously. We authorized a budget transfer for in the COVID-19 CARES Act Recovery Fund of $1 million to our first responders, the fire department, police department, for the things that they're doing, so that'll cover a lot of their wages as we work our way through this. We adopted unanimously amending a council policy for the Parks and Rec Commission student representative to broaden the qualifications of a student for that position, which I don't think they have one now, but it opens it up to more than just Kenai Central High School. It could be any school here in town. And I looked at that, and I'm considering asking council to pull together a resolution or something similar, for planning and zoning. And send it. It would come to you guys first, assuming the council would be interested in that. It's just kind of a spin-off from that. It's a good thing. You guys do lots of good work here and all that kind of stuff, and I think having a student rep here would benefit them. And let's see, we adopted unanimously a resolution to request the state allow the city of Kenai to contract and perform construction administration on the Bridge Access Road pedestrian path. And that is still going through some negotiations with the state. It's been sent off, and I think the state would like to design and inspect it themselves, but that's not the city's position, so we're still working through that. We have appropriated money, for the design and construction of it, at least our portion of it. There's a grant involved, so it's just it'll just take a little while, like those things usually do. And I don't have anything more on that meeting. Our next council meeting, I'm not seeing it here. It'll be August 5th. My anniversary's on the 2nd, which is Sunday, so I just had to do the math, but thanks. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions of Councilman Nackstead? All right, we will move on. We do not have a borough planning report, so that'll take us to city administration.
Thank you, Chair. So we have some items that went before the, green is on, okay. Sorry, I was worried I didn't have it on earlier, so. Okay, so I can speak to some items that went before the Kenai Peninsula Borough that this commission saw. So I attended the Borough Plat Committee meeting on July 13th because there were 3 plats within the city of Kenai that were before the committee. So 2 were pretty straightforward, the Newton Segura subdivision and the Barron Park 2020 replat. For that one, the city of Kenai owns all of those parcels, so I had this perspective of representing the city as a property owner. The Beaver Loop Acres addition, so that was before this commission for several lots off of Beaver Loop Road. The city asked that the borough send it back to us to look at again. This commission had made, I think there were 8 conditions of approval, which it's a little higher than normal, and the borough thought it would be prudent to designate some of the existing entrances to the gravel pit as official right-of-ways, and then the city, we also had some additional concerns after it had gone to the borough that it may be in the best interest of the city to limit some of the driveways off of Beaver Loop Road. So heads up that plat will be coming back to this commission to look at again, and then it will go back to the borough. And the borough, they did approve of the vacation of the cul-de-sac on the Barron Park plat. That goes to city council for final approval, but that also related to the plat that this commission saw. I included the mid-month report for June in the packet, so that's, again, I prepare that for the council packet, and so I think it's good to come to the commission because it summarizes all of the agenda items and resolutions, and then goes over some of the building permit reviews and site plan reviews and code enforcement and lands items that staff do, but that this commission often sees to give a recommendation or approve of a resolution. And I guess that the city DipNet is in full swing, and I have been working on the draft land management plan. So I'm hoping in the next few months it can be before the public. That's the end of my staff report.
All right. Any questions of Ms. Appleby?
I have one.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Will the planning and zoning be involved in any way with the pathway that the council designated or approved funds for, or whatever, across beach access?
Go ahead.
Commissioner McIntyre, at this point, I don't foresee the Planning and Zoning Commission being directly involved. So far, council has approved the funding match. I don't know at a later point in time if there would need to be a planning and zoning issue that would come before the commission, but at this point, I don't expect the Planning and Zoning Commission to be directly involved.
Okay. The other one is more of a comment, if you will, that has to do with something that came up in the context of the Donahue structure that they're building at the end of our road. And that is, I became aware because they didn't have any culverts in the driveways across the ditches, and so I talked to Scott Curtin about it, and apparently before a certificate of occupancy is issued, in a case like this, there's supposed to be culverts installed where the driveway goes across the ditch to the road. I don't know if that's a city code or what it is, but Scott said that that's a requirement. And noticing that that one they probably will go ahead and put culverts in because they're still driving heavy equipment across there that started construction and stuff. So you wouldn't want a culvert in there right now anyway. But that made me curious because I started looking at a couple of other houses down the road that had been built since that road was put in, and noticed that they didn't have culverts. And so it probably needs to be highlighted on somebody's checklist that before that certificate of occupancy is issued, that they need to check to make sure that they've met the requirements for their exit onto, in this case, a city-maintained road. But anyway, just a point of information.
Appreciate that comment. Be something to bring to the building officials' attention, I suppose.
Commissioner McIntyre, those would likely be considered non-conforming as they are now, unless there's some sort of, I guess if they're not causing an immediate issue, they would probably be fixed over time. So as someone wanted to put an addition on the house or other work where they would need a permit, then that's the time when we would make them fix it, because we wouldn't issue the new permit until they had fixed a standing issue. But at this point in time, they'll probably end up existing as a non-conformity.
Yeah. Well, just a little more information. Scott did say he was going to approach the people and tell them that they needed to fix the issue. which is unfortunate for one at least, because they have blacktop right onto the road now, so they're going to have to rip that out, put the culvert in, and then replace it. But he is going to give them some time to do that. But the problem is that if you put those in the ditch without a culvert, then you've basically dammed the ditch. And where that becomes an issue is in the spring when the snow that they've been grading off the road into the ditches all winter long starts to melt. It can, take out the road bed. And this particular road, the neighbors all got together and paid a tremendous amount of money to get that blacktop and put in, with the agreement that the city then would maintain it. And that's why it was a concern for me, is I just wanted to make sure that our road was maintained, because we did pay a lot of money for it. So the problem is under control. We're going to take care of it, but I just thought that for future reference going on forward, that it's just another one of those things that ought to be on the checklist to make sure we, because it's sure easier to do it when you first put that road in or your driveway in than it is later on when you blacktop it. Anyway.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? If not, we will move on. Don't see any. Additional public comment? Nobody online?
There's no one online.
All right, we bypassed the informational items. Next meeting, August 12th, right here or via Zoom again, I'm assuming. So commissioners' comments and questions. Commissioner McIntyre.
Oh, I think I've said enough for one evening.
All right, good to hear from you. Commissioner Springer.
I don't have anything.
All right. Here in the House, Commissioner Askin.
I don't have anything.
All right, and I have nothing to add other than to apologize for missing the last meeting. I was in my own little world and forgot about it, so I guess it happens. So, with that, business complete. Meeting is adjourned.